lot.
Yeah. So what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on indie game development? I mean, I've noticed it's a growing trend in the industry that there are more indie game developers popping up than there were, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Right. It was all like big name developers, otherwise you got nothing. Now, a small developer can pop up and make a name for themselves. What do you think it's going to do for that?
It's going to help them grow because just in the short period of time that we've been working, we've realized that there are a lot of companies in Philadelphia that are indie companies that are growing. They didn't have any community together. They didn't really know that each other was there. Since we started VGI Philly, all these guys are starting to get together. And it's not a competition thing. It's like, oh, we got to grow together. We got to grow as a community. So for indies, when they see that sort of community, they're like, yeah, well, why can't Mike and I start our own company? Because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a supportive community.
That's what we're doing.
I mean, it is. Yeah. But it's a community that's supportive of each other. It's not a cutthroat type of thing. You want to say, oh, you're doing that? That looks cool. And maybe we could use something like that, or we could sit down and talk to somebody else. What's your programming like? Or do you have a programmer you can spare? So it's going to help the community grow. And when a sense of community starts to grow like that, you're going to start to see other bigger studios either come here or be very interested or take over one of them, say, oh, we like what you're doing, we're going to buy it, we'll set up shop here.
And what we're doing, and what VGI Philly has been really helpful with, this is where it's really cool, because we're big support. We love all things. AAA games. Lou and I were talking, we're like, our dream is to do one studio where we do really cool indie games, and then work on AAA titles too. Kind of like the beauty that we're both. But what VGI Philly is becoming is an educational resource for these studios, where they're kind of like, they have the hunger for the games, they've got the talent, and we come in and help them, and we can say things like, listen, you should look at a WiiWare title, you should look at an XBLA title, and they had never really thought of that. And so then all of a sudden we're like, and we can connect you with our resources. Like, we have connections with one of the North American Nintendo guys who vets the WiiWare titles. So we can say, listen, we can help you interact with these people, and they can make sure that you're going to be pitching something appropriate. And so that's a step that these people would never be able to take because they haven't had the time in the industry. So it benefits everybody. Nintendo gets, in this case Nintendo, gets to tap into a new resource, the indie developers get coached, we get to watch our city get a really cool new industry, and everyone gets to play a cool new game. It's just wins all the way around.
Yeah, and I can imagine that building a community with independent developers, I mean, it'll help out the consumers because there'll just be more creativity flowing instead of the rivalry to make people focus more on the games.
Exactly. You hit it on the head. And that's the thing, is what we see all these the spillover. For example, J1 Studios out of Philadelphia, they have their hands in 15 different pots. They're doing video games, but they're also doing web-based commentaries, and they're also doing comic books, and so the creativity just kind of starts to blossom out into all these different areas. And it's just a great time to be kind of pushing this type of initiative, and everybody's jazzed about it.
Yeah, it sounds really awesome. It's a great idea, and I like the whole community-based thing, and just working with all these different sectors. I mean, that just makes so much sense.
Yeah, we didn't realize how fast this started. It started this GDC, March 28th or whatever, a bunch of us out drinking. And then it kind of really hit its first, and I think when I made it, that was. Then we woke up the next morning and realized it was still a good idea. So, but then it really took its front when I did a presentation at something called Blob Live on May 5th. So we've been only doing this since May 5th, and we've already got buy-in from the two major universities, and we've got state support and also city support, and we're talking to European studios already. So 6 months, 5 months, and we've already, we had planned for our step. This is supposed to take 12 months, and we're at this point at 6 months. So we're like, oh. And
we were able to get a representative from Crytek to come to GameX from our connections that we've done, just with VGI Philly.
Who's interested in, it's obviously just a swing at the plate, but he's really interested in hearing more about, setting up an East Coast studio and seeing if there's something to merit for it, and so keep your fingers crossed. Come on, Crytek, move to Philly. You know you want to.
It may not, we're not expecting it to happen, but we've gotten on the radar map already.
Yeah,
within a few months.
It's there. People are seeing it.
Yes. And the other funny thing is, and this is one of the sectors that we didn't realize, we've got all of our friends that were in Philly and moved out. They're sending us emails, people we've never even met, and they're like, please let me move back to Philly. I hate it here. I want to come home. And so they're just like sending us resumes, and like, if any studios come, we'll leave. And they're working at major studios, and they're just because Philly's a lifestyle as well. Not that it's fun to live in places like San Fran, or I'm not saying they're from San Fran, but obviously the places that are big hubs. But when you go to Philly, people who started the industry in 1990 are now our age, and they have families, and they're like, I'd rather raise my family somewhere and actually have a house with a yard and not have to pay $8,000 a month for rent, or whatever. That's what we were. We're basically a bunch of stubborn old men who decided we would move to Austin. We'd rather have people come to us.
Exactly.
VGI Philly, run by stubborn old men.
That's a new slogan.
Yeah, exactly. Lazy and angry and proud of it.
So, a little off topic. What are your favorite games?
Oh, you want to go first? Or you want me to go
My
first?
favorite game is Jedi Academy. I love the multiplayer, playing with lightsabers.
You didn't even hesitate. You just had that.
Yeah, that's
my
a
favorite
go-to.
game all time. Yep. I've answered that question many times, actually.
So the multiplayer, that's a really cool idea. I didn't think about that because I'm always thinking for Jedi Academy or the Star Wars games, the idea of the first player narrative arc. And
No, you go in. There's all different kinds of gameplays. There's FFA, Siege, capture the flag, death matches. But you could go in, and it's also a social thing for most of the multiplayer. The FFAs, you just go in and hang out and talk. You want to duel somebody, you challenge them, and then you fight them, and you go sit in the corner again. So it was a social and a tactical game all at the same time. So it was just one of my favorites.
That's cool. All right, I'm a sucker. I got two games. First of all, I'm a sucker for Ken Levine games. My best friend introduced me to System Shock 1 and 2 in college, and I just got sucked. Man, that game scared the crap out of me. And then when BioShock came out, of course. So BioShock's always got a soft spot for me, but I didn't jump on the bandwagon. I actually am a Ken Levine fan when I got there. So BioShock stayed up till 3 in the morning with a 3-month-old daughter, even though I had to get up at 6. I was playing that game, loved it, loved the narrative arc, loved the audio. I mean, I write music for games, so love the audio, man. It was amazing. And I will still fire up an emulator and play Metroid, the original. That is such a good game. So those are my go-tos. And you heard yesterday, my band, we did the heavy metal version of Metroid. So
Yes.
yeah,
Awesome.
that was epic.
It was.
Great. So, last question. Where can people go to find out more about?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was like,
We have
yeah,
a
we gotta
website.
plug ourselves. Yeah, go for it, Luke.
It's VGIphilly.com.
All right.
All the info's right there.
Yeah, it is,
Yes.
and you can drop in either. We have a contact email right there, which routes to our mailboxes, and we've got about 9 or 10 founding members right now, including a guy named Damon Alberts who owns a company called Burst Online. He's doing the first bootstrapped AAA MMO. He's working with the guys with Cheyenne Mountain. He got the guys who did Stargate Worlds as his senior design team.
Wow.
And programming team. Yeah, so I mean, like he's the real deal, and his stuff is. I've been privy to see some of the concept art and some of the previews and stuff, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
he's one of the founders. We've got Hardy Bat and Tristan Hightower, who are two of the IGDA coordinators of Philly.
Yeah.
We're really tight with the IGDA, especially IGDA Northeast. And yeah, go to the website to find out, and then we can link to all the places that we're touching and talking to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds. I mean, it sounds awesome. And being
Oh,
a PA resident, I mean,
I know. Yeah.
having a video game industry in the state would be amazing.
Totally,
Yes.
totally. It'd be great for everybody. And like you said, it's not just we live in Philly, but we want the whole state to benefit. Pittsburgh, it should totally blossom as well.
Yeah,
Funky
yeah.
Melon's right there. It's awesome. If you can get something happening in Harrisburg, why not?
There got to be people out there too.
Actually, there are educational schools that we were contacted by
Yeah.
to come out and talk to the schools because they're starting up game related programs and they want to know our thoughts. So something else we have to do, but it's
on the
totally
to-do
cool.
list.
There is, I mean, it's all throughout the state. It's not just Philadelphia.
But hey, you're ahead of your schedule, so you got plenty. You got
Exactly. I mean, guys like you, man, it's like our life is good, man. We have a good time doing our thing. So.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, sounds awesome, and thanks for talking to us.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
taking the
much.
time.
Yeah.
All right, Richard Shoup, BingeGamer.net, Mike Worth, Lou Trencinella,
VGI
Philly.